What is up, studs, and welcome to Ask MandR, episode 401, sponsored by Arena Club. More on them later, but during this episode, we're going to discuss LEGO Star Wars May 4th sets, if the new US LEGO factory is going to bring down prices for LEGO Star Wars and I suppose other LEGO sets, and more. And by the way, by the end of the episode, you'll find out what happened when I filed my taxes this year. Very exciting stuff. Now, if you guys have a question or topic you want covered on next week's episode, leave it down in the comments section below. If you enjoy, hit the like button. Let's get to our first question from Darth Millennial, who says, which LEGO Star Wars set do you think has the potential to be the next $1,000 set? I think there's two pretty obvious contenders here. I'm going to keep it short and simple. The UCS Super Star Destroyer that's coming out this year. I know, that would be crazy, but I think it could be. And whenever the next UCS Millennium Falcon comes out, which I would guess would be 2027 for the 50th anniversary of Star Wars. Next from Rafi's Holocron, he says, what did you think of the $250 price tag for the UCS N1 Starfighter? I think it's ridiculous, especially for 1,800 pieces, but I guess it's consistency. Look, I hate doing the price per piece thing every time, but I will say, with May 4th UCS sets specifically, they really did earn some goodwill from me on the pricing of these sets. Historically, they have been very consistent that if it's like within the size range of a May 4th UCS set, I think we all kind of know what that means when it comes to like the $200 and now $240 sets, they would be that price, whether it's $200 or what became $240. And then they did this little fluctuation in 2024 where they actually dropped the price $10 on the UCS TIE Interceptor for seemingly no reason, because in my opinion, it could have just been $240 like the rest, but they went ahead and made it $230. And honestly, that really earned goodwill for me. And I do think that showed me that for whatever reason with May 4th UCS sets, they were like willing to lower the price if they felt like the set was actually worth $10 less, unlike with other sets in the LEGO Star Wars portfolio where they'll just overprice it by $40, looking at the Clone Tiny Tank. And so I look at the UCS N1 Starfighter being $10 more than the typical $250. And honestly, I don't think much of it, especially considering a lot of the pieces are drum lacquered chrome, which might involve a lot more during the production process. I can see the extra $10 there because of that, but also I understand seeing it just in a vacuum and thinking it's $10 more is a little upsetting. I'll defend him here because I don't think it's completely unreasonable, and it seems to be a very sizable set from the pictures, but of course, I don't have it here in front of me to tell you that, so obviously my opinion may change when I make like my review, but as of now, I don't see it as like insane. Next from Bricks in Motion, he says, do you think the Darksaber promo will be valuable? Because I want to buy the UCS Millennium Falcon on May the 4th, and I maybe will be selling the Darksaber. So selling your promos is always a great way to recoup some cost and make a set a much better deal than it was otherwise, and so absolutely is the way to go if that's what you're trying to do. That being said, this Darksaber, I would imagine, is going to sell for about what the Camino training facility sells for, which would be about $40. It's your typical May 4th promo that's available with purchases of $160 or more, just like we had last year with the Camino training facility. And you also consider the Camino training facility had 3 minifigures in it, which obviously gets a lot of people in the door to begin with. So I would expect this to really be less valuable than this, just based on the fact that it doesn't have minifigs, but maybe it's a much better build to people, and they do appreciate the Darksaber, and so maybe there's going to be some demand for it there, but it's not going to be anything near what the previous lightsaber promos were, because these were specifically sold with new release UCS sets, so you had to spend between $350 and $800 to get these, and the economics basically just don't shake out here. You have to spend $160 to get this, and then these on the secondary market right now are probably all over $160 sealed in the box. I'm not doing the research, doesn't matter, but I'm pretty sure they are. And so there's just no way that this would be worth anything near what these are worth. So if you're expecting this type of value, hundreds of dollars, it's not going to happen. But if you're happy recouping $35, $40, maybe if you're really lucky, $50, $60 out of the Darksaber when you buy the UCS Falcon, then yeah, you're going to get that, but you're not going to get much, if anything, more. I'm so happy that Greenflame_ left this comment, because I think it's one of my best takes all time when it comes to LEGO Star Wars minifigs. He says, your reviews are the best, man. By the way, I went and watched your review of the Kessel Run Falcon, and oh my gosh, you questioned LEGO for going the extra mile and giving Lando back printing. So this is my review from April 28th, 2018. We are almost 8 years to the day. That's crazy. LEGO also did go through the trouble of putting a back print on there, which I always find to be a little bit ridiculous, because they know they're going to put a cape on the figure, so why bother with a back print, because it's going to be covered. But I guess it's always worth it if they go that extra mile. It's nice to see, but just one of those little things I like to complain about, even though it's something extra that they put in. If I could snap my fingers right now and trade away the back printing on every LEGO Star Wars minifigure that has a cape forever and always in favor of more arm printing, dual molded legs, waist capes on clone troopers, I would 1000% do that.
Please.
and I would like to imagine that 99.9% of other fans would do the same, because the back printing is the absolute most insignificant part of the minifigure when it's covered up by a cape. It just absolutely is, and I'm dead serious about this. I think LEGO Star Wars should really consider this, because it is a very easy way to shift your budget from something that absolutely does not matter and has no effect on anything to a lot of things that do, that the fans really, really do not like and have issues with and are causing problems within the community. I mean, we're talking about a company that really will pinch pennies at every corner. I'm kind of shocked that they haven't gotten rid of it just out of a cost-saving measure, just to like make more money. But realistically, what they could do here is take it away, but also then just be like, okay, we're just going to have more arm printing now. We're going to have dual molded legs in $1,000 sets. We're going to have waist capes on clone shippers again. Just all the things that they've been taking away because everything costs too much money for them, even though they keep reporting record profits. Or maybe it's because they keep spending tens and 20s and 50s and hundreds and too many thousands and millions of dollars to count on smart play advertisements with random Instagrammers and YouTubers and all of the things, Mark Hamill, all of the people, all of the things. Everybody's getting smart play money these days. Everybody. I really think they can take away backprints on minifigs with capes, and it would not matter in the slightest. It's the easiest thing to give up for the absolute biggest gain possible. So yeah, I hope that that is something that they could actually consider. Like, honestly, I always just thought it was silly that they gave them backprints, because I'm like, okay, what's the point? Like, you already have the cape there. Nobody's ever going to see this. You know, it's not something I ever look at on any of my minifigures ever. And then, you know, that was 8 years ago. As the theme has degraded now and we're in a much different position than we were in 2018 when I said what I said, it obviously would be a big benefit to get rid of that in favor of some of the things that they apparently just don't have the money to do. So that would be my take there. Rip, reveal, collect, rip digital, and chase rare grails. Whether you love sports like me or prefer Pokemon, this is the new way to score real graded cards in one seamless experience and build your collection. I'm definitely on the hunt for new cards to add to my display, and Arena Club lets you open digital packs starting at just $25, but with real graded cards inside, including grails worth 20x plus the pack price. One click, instant reveal, real slab in your showroom that you can choose to have shipped to you anytime. Every slab pack shows you exactly what's inside and the pull rates before you buy, so no mystery BS. The moment you rip, Arena Club will instantly offer you cash for your card based on fair market value. You can hold it, flex it, auction it, or take the offer right now. Arena Club also drops insane specialty packs all week long, including Charizard only packs, legendary Grail packs, case hit only packs, and more. Maybe one day they'll do a LEGO Star Wars pack. Every drop lasts 48 hours or until inventory's gone, whichever comes first, so make sure you turn on push notifications so you don't blink and miss something insane. I had the opportunity to try it out myself, and I think you should see how that went. For the pack I'm gonna rip, I'm really torn between basketball and football, but I think I've got to go basketball because my display has basketball in it. So I've got my slab ready to go, and we're just gonna hit open slab pack. Please be a Celtics player. And I got a Kobe Bryant? Oh, no. Literally the arch nemesis of the Celtics. It looks like it has an estimated value of $210. I can sell it back for $189 and rip more packs, or I can add it to my showroom. I think I'm going to sell it back because I'm just not the biggest Kobe Bryant fan. I like the Celtics. I feel like it would be sacrilegious to keep it. We're going to accept the offer. We're taking the money. This silver basketball pack could have a Tatum in it, so I'm going to go for this one and see what we get. We're going to skip the reveal this time, and it looks like we got a Bronny James. Oh my God, I'm only getting Lakers players. So I'll keep this one in my showroom just in case. I'm doing one more with the silver magical pack to see if we can at least get some Star Wars instead of some Los Angeles Lakers. And we got Bob Parr from The Incredibles. I'm going to keep that one. We're keeping that in the showroom. Absolutely. Let's check out the showroom. I lied. We're going for another basketball. We got a Jason Tatum. Oh my God. I'm so glad I did that. I wasn't going to do another one. Let's go. Let's go. That is so sick. PSA 9 Panini Photogenic from 2023-2024. The year they won the finals in 2024. That's a good one to have. Oh, that's so exciting. So we want to definitely not accept that offer. So looking at my showroom now, I've got Bronny James Jr., Bob Parr, and Jason Tatum. Quite a range of cards there. And you can actually choose to have these shipped to you. So I think I am going to get my Jason Tatum shipped to me. I definitely want to have that for my personal IRL collection. If you want to try out Arena Club and open some packs for yourself, first-time collectors will get 20% off. Just head to arenaclub.com/ arena.club/MNR and use code MNR. Link in the description below. Thank you, Arena Club, for sponsoring this video, and I am so stoked to have the Jason Tatum card in my collection. Next, from Bald X Coach. That is a crazy name. I never read the names ahead of time. Bald X Coach says, Ask MNR, did you hear about the Los Angeles man getting caught this week for buying Lego and replacing the pieces with pasta and then returning them to Target? Apparently he did it all over the country. This is a very common, I wouldn't say very common, I guess. It's a common thing. He's not the first and only person to do it, but definitely a high profile story from what I'm seeing. This is crazy. I didn't they have like all the, usually when I see news stories like this, it's just like a picture of the guy in like the story. They got like the whole police body cam and everything. This is great. $34,000 of stuff is pretty crazy. That's like 5 Lego sets. Ha, original joke I just came up with that Twitter doesn't definitely just reuse a million times a day. Kind of crazy he got up to that amount of money before they caught him, but I guess it probably depends on like his cadence and like how much he did at a time probably. It's definitely one of those things that adds up and helps cause Lego to cost more money because stores are going to have to recoup that loss from somewhere, right? They can't just put items on sale if $34,000 walked out the front door like that. You got to start selling it at full price, stuff like that I'm sure doesn't help. It's a very interesting dynamic though, because if you are somebody that does buy Lego from the secondary market and you're buying minifigures like this from random sellers online, you theoretically could be buying stolen product without knowing it, but you're also benefiting from the fact that this stolen product that comes onto the market lowers the prices of everything, right? It's just kind of crappy all around, and it's unfair to people who run things legitimately. It's unfair to Lego, it's unfair to Target, and obviously it's going to mostly negatively affect consumers, except for the people that buy minifigs online, where the market is now more saturated and therefore the price comes down, you know, who knows by what percentage. In this alternate universe without all of the stolen product on the market, what the price would be. Who knows what the market price of, let's say, Galactic Marines would be without stolen product on the market, but in some way that is going to bring the price down because there's just more supply. So yeah, really fascinating, and love seeing the behind the scenes footage and pictures on that one. Next, from Sub, he says, is there a Lego Star Wars set you refuse to review for whatever reason? So I've covered this before. I have a kind of unique take on it here, but yeah, there's no set I wouldn't and don't want to review. I want to review every Lego Star Wars set. That being said, in the last 6 years, there is one Lego Star Wars set that I haven't reviewed for honestly no good reason other than pure laziness, and that is the 31200 Lego Star Wars Mosaic sets. The Darth Maul, Darth Vader, I think Kylo Ren Mosaic. You can kind of build what you want out of it, and you can combine multiple together to make like mega mosaics, and it's a really cool set. And people have also made some really killer custom ones over the years that I would absolutely love to add to my collection too, but I built like 1 or 2 of these and then I have the rest sealed, and it was just such an undertaking that I didn't want to build them all at the time, and so I didn't. And then I just never reviewed them. And I honestly feel like at this point, it'll become the last Lego Star Wars set that I review for no good reason other than the fact that I put it off for so long and I just don't want to now. So I will eventually review it, but it's just, I don't know, it just doesn't matter now. And it's the weirdest Lego Star Wars set they've probably come out with in the last 10 years. Is that a hot take? It's a really odd one. I mean, it's brick sketches. I got those down there. You can't really see those, but brick sketches are also pretty weird. Inmitable says, do you think the new Lego factory opening in the US will help bring prices down or make prices go up? So someone kind of threw this my way a few weeks ago as like a conspiracy theory that may or may not be true, in that if you happen to look at when the Lego factory for the US got announced, which would be, let's go back to my Google search, I guess, July of 2022. And then you look at when they announced that they would be increasing a bunch of set prices in 2022. That happened in June. Are those things correlated? Did Lego need extra money to finance the building of their new factory in Virginia? I mean, it's a good conspiracy theory. It really is. The timing is impeccable that they announced that they're increasing prices because of all of these factors in June. And then in July, they're like, oh yeah, we're also spending like $1 trillion to build a factory here in America. And those price increases, they're not related. I think at the time, myself and many others just chalked it up to inflation. And there were a lot of factors at play, of course, kind of coming out of COVID, which made a lot of sense. But it might make even more sense if you really just draw a line together between the factory and the price increases. So I wouldn't expect prices to ever go down. Like battle packs are $23. They're never going to be 20 again, right? Like that sort of stuff. There's just no way, in my opinion, that's just going to be what it is. Stone Cactus says, why do you think they chose Star Wars to be the scapegoat for the Smart Play sets? They already ruined the Star Wars line enough. And Smart Play is actually coming to more themes very soon. Oh no! LEGO Pokemon is getting Smart Play this summer, and it's with non-minifigure sets, which I think will be fascinating to see the implementation of, and subsequent like letdown for the Pokemon fans as they kind of realize what the Pokemon theme is going to become between Smart Play and then really expensive 18+ sets with kind of nothing in the middle, it seems. I've talked about it before, but they absolutely chose Star Wars to be first because it's Star Wars and it's kind of their biggest thing, but I do believe that was a massive mistake and they never should have put it with Star Wars anyway. But yeah, Pokemon's getting it very soon. There were a lot of leaks recently or rumors of the sets that are going to be coming out this summer with Pokemon, like, I don't know, 10 sets, and it's going to be pervasive for a while until they realize it's over. Ty the Movie Guy just wishing the worst upon Boba Fett fans out here. He says, imagine everything about the Return of the Jedi Boba Fett is perfect except for a silver visor. I swear if they do that. Could you imagine if they just left it blank and it's sand green showing through, of course, for consistency? No! Don't be sad says the fact that Ryan isn't in land is the greatest thing that could happen. LEGO has no control over him and he can say what he wants. I actually have an interesting thought when it comes to this. So when LEGO brought me into the ambassador program, I kind of feel like the reason that they did that was to try and control me in some way, shape, or form. And when they realized they couldn't, they just kicked me out. Good. I kind of 50-50 believe that. But the way that it felt, and it never felt like a partnership, and it felt more like you're in high school and we're going to call you into the principal's office every 3 weeks to tell you what you did wrong instead of just like working on cool constructive projects with you. That's kind of the vibe that I got, is that they wanted me in there to see if they could kind of mold me, and it just didn't work the way they thought. That's kind of my 50-50 conspiracy on that happening. But yeah, of course, not being under the thumb of big LEGO is useful in some ways and not in others. And I've definitely mentally kind of gone back and forth on the thought of like, is it good or is it bad to not be working with LEGO and not be LEGO's friend in the simplest terms, I suppose, like, because I would like to be LEGO's friend at the end of the day. I've said this before, and it's really unfortunate the way that they run things and do things and how things have gone. From reading some comments like this, of course, I get the other impression that a lot of people do enjoy the fact that I am not LEGO's friend. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, of course, being able to review a LEGO set exactly the way I want and not have the potential of like a future LEGO set being withheld from me, which is exactly what we saw with LEGO Star Wars Smart Play with the LAN program, apparently, is definitely a good thing. It's definitely a good thing. Now, that being said, if LAN didn't send me a Star Wars set, I'd have bought it anyway and reviewed it, even if I was in LAN, right? But you don't see a lot of LAN members that don't get the Star Wars sets sent to them go and buy them anyway and review them, because at the end of the day, I don't want to be too mean here. Let's move on to our next question from Pi, who says, have you heard of the MIDI-scale Malevolence they released around 2009? Apparently, a lot of people are just like perked up, I guarantee it. Apparently, they made instructions for it that you got for completing a game, Quest for R2-D2 or something like that. No, you got it right. He says, and you could build it from the parts from the 2009 sets. I've seen it on a reel and hadn't seen anybody else talk about it. It's one of those things that I've kind of like put away for a future video topic. And I actually kind of struggle with this. So I would be curious what people think in the comments below. This is a MIDI-scale Malevolence 2009. The instruction book for this, which is not like a physical book that ever existed, but like the digital version of it is really cool with R2 doing the hologram thing for the Malevolence. But I'm kind of curious, like I will eventually build this into a video with it. For me as a like diehard fan, I gotta have the stickers on there. You can have different stickers from different eras all in the same set. For the Malevolence, it's very weird, but it also kind of works in a way. I'm just curious if you guys think I should absolutely have the stickers in a review like that. I guess I could buy those pieces used with the stickers, because I was just thinking if I bought all the sets new to make that set, it would probably be fairly expensive. I looked up the list. You would need the Corporate Alliance Tank Droid, the Echo Base, the Hyena Droid Bomber, Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, the AAT, the Republic Attack Shuttle, the Separatist Shuttle, Anakin's Y-Wing, the Battle of Endor, and the Venator. You would need parts from all of those sets to make this. There's no way I am buying those, 9 or 10 sets brand new just to take a few pieces from each of them to create this. I think I'm going to bricklink it together and then figure out what I'm going to do for the stickered pieces, because that's ridiculous. You're probably looking at like 4,000 to 4,500 pieces out of the sets that you need, and you're only going to use 749 of them. That's pretty brutal. I can't imagine many people, if anyone, back in 2009 would have done this. Like, that's a lot of sets to have to just steal pieces from and basically make terrible to get a MIDI-scale Malevolence. Like, it's cool that they did this, but the actual reality of it and the practicality of it is just not there. Like, there's no way that like random kids were doing this. Like, it's kind of ridiculous that they did it like this and expected people to buy 10 different sets, steal parts from them, and then put it to like, it's actually pretty insane. So maybe that'll be a good like way to look at it when I make my video about it, is like how insane this would have actually been to do in 2000. It's still insane to do today, but how insane it would have been to do back in the day and how unrealistic it was. Probably have to spend like $500 on sets just to do it. Like, that's ridiculous. Next from Ben, he says, I am leaving LEGO at my house, parents' house, while I am serving overstates in the United States Marine Corps. Thank you for your service, Ben. He says, I don't want my collection collecting dust while I'm gone 6 months at a time. I was going to disassemble a lot of them and put them in Ziplocs and bins. Any better ideas? I think you could always put towels and blankets over them to make sure they don't get too dusty. Theoretically, dust can still kind of seep through, but it shouldn't be anywhere near as bad, of course, as if you just leave them exposed. When it comes to Ziploc bags and bins, I would absolutely not recommend taking your sets apart piece by piece, because then when you come back, you have to rebuild everything piece by piece. So if you do the bin method, I would do what I do, in that you just literally take the set and put it in a bin. If you are going to take them apart, perhaps some sort of like modular system to that, where it's like, okay, this comes apart like this, and now it's a little bit easier to store. But that's it. I would not go further and just disassemble every piece by piece on your Darksaber or your UCS Venator or whatever sets you may have. So I think the bin and towel method is going to be the way to go, but I absolutely don't recommend taking it apart piece by piece. So yeah, I hope the advice helps, and hopefully your LEGO collection will be safe at home while you are gone. Make sure you tell your parents not to sell it. Just make sure you tell them that. Be very clear that your LEGO collection is not for sale. I saw people comment this when I discussed it a few weeks ago, and I hadn't brought it up, but there are horror stories of people's parents selling their LEGO collections when they go to college or whatever it may be. So just make that clear to them if you haven't already, or if you think there's like the smallest of chances that your mom might just go rogue and do a yard sale one day. Just be careful there. Anyway, we got to round this episode out with some tax talk, because the Lonely Egg says, how did filing your taxes go? I filed my taxes over a month early. It was the most stress-free tax filing year of my life. I walked into my accountant's office, and about 45 minutes later, I walked out with a refund to the tune of 4 digits. It was awesome. I'd never even gotten a refund. I was shocked. She's like, I'm happy with you this year, Ryan. I just thought that meant I was not going to owe a lot. And then it turned out I got a 4-digit refund, and I was thrilled. So much better with an accountant than not, because in previous years, maybe 2018, we talked a little bit about like when I reviewed the Kessel Run Millennium Falcon. I guarantee that was one of those sets where I had my receipt, and at the end of the year, I went through and added up all of the receipts with all of the Lego and things that I bought to like run my business that year to write off on my taxes. And that was like, I would spend a whole day doing that. It was horrible. So life is much better now that I am more responsible with it, and I actually have an accountant handling it. 10 out of 10 would recommend, if you like run a business or do anything serious, to have an accountant, or if that's something you come across later in life, because I feel like I waited too long to get that. I could have benefited from it much earlier. So just something like, if you're coming up in life, to just be on top of, because it's a lot easier with than without an accountant. Anyways, thank you again to this video sponsor, Arena Club. Check them out with the link in the description below. Hit the like button if you guys enjoyed, and if you have a question or topic for next week's episode, drop it in the comments section. See you next week on episode 402.